Leftist journalist destroyed. Pierre Poilievre casually smacks down left-wing journalist. These are the thumbnails that I see. Usually when something is being so hyped up, it ends up disappointing. However, this was not the case, so I want to actually analyze what Mr. Pierre here did, which is incredibly successful, so that you guys can replicate it if it ever happens in real life. If you talk with a person that is using passive-aggressive tactics in order to make you look bad.
On the topic, I mean...
So the sound effect is already spot on. You get to hear him eating the apple. And the most important part in every single conversation is not really what is being said. It's the body language. Over 80% of human communication is body language, tone of voice. The words aren't that important. And as you can see by having a relaxed posture, eating an apple, he is definitely not showing any concern. Meanwhile, the journalists avoid eye contact, is being very timid, which shows that he is not engaging in the conversation honestly.
In terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess.
So the journalist is using a lot of filler words. He is nervous. He is going, I would guess. And what is being done here is that he is using an accusation. Like, he knows that what he is doing is wrong. He knows that the things that he is saying don't make sense. And he is using them in a uncharitable fashion. Meanwhile, what Pierre does is changes the framing, right? So the journalist already benefits from the established societal frame that exists. Populism bad, appealing to emotion bad, and he banks on the fact that the audience who is watching the television is going to feel the same way. So instead of engaging with these arguments, right, instead of Pierre saying, it's like, no, I'm not a populist, or instead of saying, like, no, I'm not appealing to emotion, or what is bad in appealing to emotion, he doesn't want to be put on the defensive and give the journalist the role of the inquisitor that keeps asking questions and condemns. What Pierre does instead is like he changes the framing. He goes like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? And at this point, the journalist would be in a losing situation because either he gives an example where the audience goes like, hold on a little bit, that's not a bad thing, or he doesn't know how to respond. A perfect situation for this, where the journalist did respond, was with Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson was at an event, so the journalist accuses Tommy of being far-right. And Tommy goes like, what is far-right? So the journalist says, well, you are pro-borders, you want to limit immigration, at which point Tommy starts laughing and points out that even Labor believes in borders. It's interesting that I couldn't find the video anymore, even though it was everywhere on YouTube at the time. But the point stands. It's a very effective tactic. When the journalist usually accuses someone of something, they are banking on the fact that the public who sits at home already has the framework created. And when you switch the framework, when you're like, hold on a bit, like, let's analyze. Are these things that you're accusing me actually bad things? Or are they things that most people believe in it? Like, for example, a politician trying to stir emotions in the public. I mean, which politicians doesn't? AOC does it, Donald Trump does it, Joe Biden attempts to do it. Like, every single politician tries to appeal to emotion at some level. And when the journalist accuses you of this, all you have to do is like, well, what do you mean? So if he gives like a concrete example, well, then you can go on and say, well, hold on, like, isn't everyone doing it?
I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
This is what Elon Musk did as well. I believe it was with the BBC. There was a reporter that claimed there is a lot of hate speech on Twitter. And Elon Musk goes like, give me an example. What do you mean? And he couldn't. Initially, he claimed that there was so much hate speech, so much anti-Semitism on Twitter, that he had to close his account. So Elon Musk goes like, okay, well, give me an example. And again, he couldn't. So give me an example. Asking for clarifications is the best way to win the debate against an inquisitor. Because what the inquisitor wants to do is to ask you uncomfortable questions, make accusations after accusations, so that even if you try to tackle one, you won't be able to come out on top. Like, notice the tactic he is doing. He's going like, why are you a populist? Why are you appealing to emotions? Why are you like Donald Trump? Why are you this? Why are you doing that? So even if you were to like try to tackle a couple of these questions, you would still look like a guilty person in the eyes of the public. Like, the number of accusations are so many that the public is going to go, well, surely he must have done something. And it's easy for the journalist to just ask these rapid fire accusations one after another than it is for you to defend yourself.
Left wing, this and that, right wing, I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left
but
or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay. I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways...
Notice how it went from a lot of people to I'm sure there is someone out there. Right? So this is a tactic that the Inquisitor does, is he hides himself behind the skirt of the crowd. Right? Like, he is not making the accusation. Of course, like, he's just trying to get down to the truth. And this is what a great many people want to find out. So when you ask, like, okay, well, who? Give me an example. Which? Crickets. Because they're not at This is an accusation made by the journalist. It's not that people are actually interested in this.
The point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given, not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump.
Look how much he needs to editorialize to ask a question, right? Like, the question is, why should Canadians trust you with their vote? This is like a very basic, normal, sane question that a journalist should ask to a politician. But he goes on for like over 1 minute and 11 seconds trying to poison the well. Stuttering, using all these filler words, because he knows that what he is doing is disingenuous. Like, he is very much aware that it's not the interest of the interview to find out what Mr. Pierre has to say, but the interest of the interview is to point Pierre as a horrible person, taking a page from dark Donald Trump and spurring up populism and whatever, left-leaning people that are the audience would believe is bad. Because also you need to take into account like who the audience is, right? And in this case, I assume, if it's in Canada and if it's with this publication, a lot of the people watching from home are left-leaning individuals, right? So he is basically saying things that left-leaning people would react to. Like, he's giving all these dog whistles. It's like basically like trying to point him as a fascist, pretty much, in the mind of the left, which translates to very bad person.
Book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not sure. I don't know what your question is.
Then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Like, literally, he could have said this from the beginning. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote? That's it. But no, he had to go on a rant for 1 minute and 35 seconds. And take into account, if Pierre would have fallen to the trap, if his body posture wasn't relaxed, if he wasn't eating the apple, if he would have actually been like stressed, none of these tactics would have worked. Like, the foundation is his casual demeanor, his body language, the fact that he is relaxed, in juxtaposition with the journalist who is very stressed, and the fact that he just refused to play the journalist game. He just reframed it for the audience. Like, come on, tell me. Like, what exactly am I doing wrong? And because he couldn't, now we're actually getting a decent interview.
Common sense. Okay. Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government. The guy prints $600 billion, grows our money supply by 32% in 3 years. That's growing the money 8 times faster than the economy. No wonder we have the worst inflation in 4 decades. I'm going to cap spending, cut waste, so that we can balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. You'll want to be able to pay your mortgage again? You want to be able to afford rent? Then you have to vote for Pierre Poilievre, because I am the only one with a common sense plan that will bring back the buying power of your paycheck.
This is what the journalist said. Look at his face. Look how upset he is that he got this answer. Like, do you think an honest journalist that just wants to get to the truth would react like this? He knows that it's bad, because the people who are watching from home now are going to go, well, hold on a little bit. I want to pay my mortgage. I mean, right? A lot of the circus that modern day politics have is about social issues that honestly no one gives a fuck about. Like, the overwhelming majority of the public doesn't give a shit about most of the social issues and the social justice that they talk about. You know what everyone talks about and what everyone cares? Paying your mortgage. Having an economy where your money has value. Everyone cares about this, from the beggar to the rich person. Well, maybe like the very rich don't care, because a little bit of inflation means that they can move their money in a certain way and still make a profit. But everyone else, besides like the 1%, as the left used to say, definitely cares about these things, right? And these things are the ones that are being discussed. Instead, it's like, oh, look, this politician 10 years ago said a racist joke. Oh, look, this guy is taking a page from Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, no one talks about the economy. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.